If anybody has never been on a board of a carrier when the landings and taking off, it's one of the most exciting places in the world.
Catapult is fairly easy because what it does, it throws you out there, and when you reach the end of the deck, you're doing about 75 to 77 knots. She'll sink a little bit, and then you're at full power, and then you pull back, and you may drop a little bit, but you pull out.
For takeoff, the starboard cat was 75 feet, and the port cat was 85 feet. And I always seemed to get the starboard cat. But anyway, it gave you enough power it gave you enough of a jolt to get you airborne with everything you needed. But you sure hope that your 18 cylinders are all putting out.
I was spotted on the starboard first catapult, and the quietest moment of my life, they fired me off and the engine stopped. And I'm going like this, and I could feel that carrier was catching up on me. And just before I hit the water, that big old 14-foot prop started spinning and flew water up on the hangar deck, and I managed to go over and land. And that was kind of a fun situation.
I was doing qualifications on the old FDR. I had a war-weary airplane, but you know you can't stop, and you know you're not going to make it. And I just dribbled off the deck, and I was the second plane off. He was not settled good into the wind. I did not have good wind. I got in slipstream, and it just put me right down in the water. And I was not harmed. I was back on deck, and I was master sergeant, matter of fact, then. I was back on deck in 14 minutes, and I jumped out of the chopper. I was living in chief quarters. I jumped out of the chopper on the opposite side of the medics and run down and jumped in the shower, and nobody knew where I was. And the old man was calling for me, where is this pilot, you know? Captain's aide was running all over trying to find where was that guy. And they found me, and they took me up to the bridge. They went right back to operations. And I remember I threw the skipper a highball, and I'm standing there absolutely starched. I mean, absolutely creased. I hadn't even sat down yet. With my starched 4.5 cap, that's not what we called it, but 4.5 cap. And he just absolutely stunned, and he couldn't believe it. He just sat there and shook his head, and that was me, you know. Matter of fact, skipper thought so much of that incident of the Roosevelt. All the planes were launched the next day, and he asked me, do I want to finish my qualification? And I said yes. That's not exactly the way I said it, but I said yes. And I said, hell yes. And so he launched everything, and he stayed in the wind. He stayed in the wind. For me, I'm the only plane in the pattern. Now I've got my 8 landings. My 8 landings, boom, 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 boom. And I got a pat on the back. He says, you're okay.